This is my first Dokkan Battle video. I will be going through the Dokkan events and looking at the units that you can pull from the Dokkan events, whether they're good for farming SA, and of course for taking a look at the other items or currency that you can farm from the events themselves. It's not going to constitute a in-depth review of the units, because that would basically essentially mean that I am taking a look at each and every unit individually and seeing how they perform. This video will more just cover who drops from where, if they're good for raising SA or if they're an OK unit in themselves, and then of course just kind of talk about the events and what you can farm from them. So if we just take a look obviously at the screen right now, you'll see that I'm running the Dokkan Dragon Ball app. I'll be going into the events. On the right hand side you'll be able to see the units. For the events, they'll pop up briefly and just kind of go through their passes and stats. So yeah, excuse any loading times. I was running the app and had a bit of connectivity issues at the time, so I've just kind of left them in. So we're just kind of scrolling through the events. The first one we'll start with is the Great Saiyaman 2 event. This is the most recent one that got added to Global. It didn't come with the Global Majin Buu Saga bracket. Now the unit themselves, Great Saiyaman 2, are very good. They're very helpful, they're great on the signature pose team, they act as a pseudo support, and they are useful in terms of their utility kit that they add. Surprisingly enough, they can also be on the Peppy Gals team. The event itself drops quite a few stones, 12 of them in total, and the missions that you do are mainly just to awaken the unit and to raise its SA to 10. These aren't particularly difficult, which means the event's quite nice for new players to come in, grab a pretty decent free-to-play card, anywhere between 12 to 15 stones, and you can kind of also take a look at the event and farm some items. The next event that we'll be looking at is the Majin Buu event, the Ultimate Final Battle Showdown. It's the Kid Buu event. This was the one that was added for the download celebration. It features the Hercule unit, who is very good. He is usable in ESBR Agility, at least I have seen him used and I have used him myself. And the Goku Int unit, who's good for activating the Ultra Super Special Attack on the LR Vegeta unit. Similarly to the other one, the missions are not too hard. They're for awakening the units and getting the stones. I didn't include the Oob unit, but he is also very good. I do suggest getting him, especially for an Earthlings team. He can really come in handy. Then when you're going to look at the event, there's quite a few stones that can be gotten from it, around about 20 from just completing the stages, and then of course some extra from the missions. If we take a look at the event itself, we'll see that it's pretty good for farming some items. I don't want to say it's the best event for farming items of any kind, but it does have a nice seesaw drop rate, which I guess is the best in stage 6. And of course you can use the Goku and the Hercule as SA fodder for any Goku card and any Hercule card. They start as SSRs, so it's nice if you're super low on items or on awakening items to just kind of ram them in there as a 50% luck chance, and eventually getting them if you've got some excess stamina. But overall the event is pretty good. I do recommend for new players to challenge it with the Majin Buu Saga team, as this will assist in getting the units a bit faster, otherwise it can be a tad tedious. And just in general, this event's pretty good. These units do Easy A from an Easy AZ area that is also currently up, so I do recommend doing that as well if you are to pull all 3 of them. And just in general, I think all 3 are usable units for older SBR especially, and current ESBR, and some LGE events and Infinite Dragon Ball History Challenge. So then after this we're going to come to the what I like to call the Goku family event, but it's the most fearsome Majin. It's pretty straightforward. You basically run the stages, which also you get quite a few stones from, again 2 per stage, so very nice. And in stage 5 you can pull the chocolates being the little currency that you use to purchase the actual units. It's a bit different to the other events. The units don't drop from the stages, they instead are bought with the currency chocolate. But the nice thing about this is that there are Kais for sale. Elder Kais, Int Kais, as people may know. The Elder Int Kais give you 1 SA, so they're very nice to stockpile for LRs and Easy A's and any units that you can't farm SA for. And the stages themselves drop quite a few stones. The units are pretty good. I wouldn't say they're top tier. They're certainly not as good as the Hercule or the Goku that are out, but the stage drops about 20 stones, and overall the units are pretty nice. I think you can definitely slot them into a Goku themed Majin Buu older SBR team, or you can definitely just use them to float around in your teams or in your Goku family teams. They work best on that kind of build setup, so definitely take a look at them. And they have nice kits. They're nice cards to have to your collection. They may later easier to become significantly better, or to just improve in general. A lot of free-to-play units are easying nowadays, so I would definitely suggest that you go and improve on them. Similarly, it's once again Majin Buu Saga, so its boost will be the Majin Buu Saga. You're going to want to use a similar team to what you did before. If you're struggling for units, you can stop here first and get the chocolates to pull the units, and then you can move on from there and go back to the other event. If you rotate between them all, you should get a decent free-to-play Majin Buu Saga team. The next one is World Tournament Reborn. This has 2 units. This is also an incredibly good stage for farming materials and items. But to get to the units first, obviously the Great Saiyaman unit is very, very, very good, especially against extreme type enemies. I used him in my Int SBR trial runs, and I got to the final stage with him, and I died because of another unit. I did go full dodge build on him, which is not advisable, but I was trying to gimmick out the SBR. So I do suggest that you do a more conventional build. He's a very high utility unit, very good. Spopovich is also an incredible unit, very, very good. Used them for the Earthling Infinite Dragon Ball History Challenge, and just in general, they're quite a nice unit to use. They're quite fun, they do quite a bit of damage, and they can build up to good defense in longer events. They also heal a nice amount, 7% on their super attack, and this event just drops a fair amount of stones. Definitely would look into it and take a look and finish it. The missions, of course, as similar with the other ones, pretty straightforward. Awaken the unit, raise the SA to 10. Nothing too untoward or strange. Pretty much running in theme with everyone else. Then, of course, the most important thing about this is Stage 7. Stage 7 drops training locations, which is perfect if you are like me and you're always running out of those. I definitely suggest running it a couple of times to build up some training locations. The next events are just essentially GT Saga events. They don't have much to them in terms of units currently. But this one, the Baby Saga Finale, lets you basically pull out Nurse Chi-Chi's, which is very good for stocking up on SBR supplies. And of course it gives 12 stones. It doesn't have any missions, and it drops some of the Hercule medals, but I would honestly farm them at another event. The Future Trunks event, due for the stones, and of course the Future Trunks that drops in Stage 4 can be used to raise the SA, which is good. He's great SA fodder. I do suggest getting a couple of units of him if you're a Trunks fan, or you have a large Trunks collection that needs some SA raising. It does have missions, nothing too straightforward, nothing too weird, just basically redoing the mission. And then nothing really nice drops from here. There's some medals to awaken other units, but it's mainly the Trunks unit for SA fodder. Then we're going to the baby event. This one is a bit better for farming those Hercule medals that I mentioned before. And this baby unit, if you want to go through the massive grind, can be used to increase the SA of the LR. Do I advise it? Yeah. If you low on Kais and high on training items, it's always advisable to save as much Kais as possible. But in general, I would honestly wager that this baby event is probably not the way to go to raising that essay. I would just use the Kais, but you can buy Kais with Hercule Medal, so it's quite nice, especially with the apples as well that are coming up in the next one. You can get another 4 Kais between the both of these events. So that coupled with the first one giving 4 means that's 8 Kais, which is almost pretty much an SA10 for any unit that doesn't have them. Gogeta's coming up. A lot of Super Dragon Ball Hero units are coming up in the next event that's being announced, so I would definitely stock up on some Kais. Keep them because those units aren't going to have farmable SAs at all. I'll just quickly swing through the treasure so that we can take a look at what we're buying with these, and just so you can see how they go. The chocolate's pretty straightforward. I've bought all the cars. You'll see some awakening medals there. You'll see the units. You can use the Gohan to raise the SA of Team Gohan. Then the Hercule medals, similarly, awakening medals, cars, apples, awakening medals, cars. You can also get some of the awakening medals to awaken the free-to-play units or other units, and also you can get some Hercule statues. So that's about it. It's just a rundown of the events, so nothing too in-depth or anything like that. Just basically let you know where to farm some stuff and what you're looking for. In terms of priority, I would definitely say that the 4 cars from the chocolate event are easier to get and more in terms of priority than the other ones. But if you haven't done the events, any events that you haven't done where you can farm stones are the best. But anyway, that's me for now. I'll do a chain battle video later. Cool, cheers. Thanks for watching. Bye.